Now, what is jurisprudence? Here we go. And perhaps the most important question, why study jurisprudence? One answer is simply to torment students. But in fact, there are other plausible answers. Allama Muhammad Iqbal uh, suggested that current generations must be guided but not hampered by the knowledge of past scholars. So, past jurists' views are important in order to help us solve our contemporary problems. And he also suggested that beside revelation, history and social phenomena are important sources of knowledge. American jurist and philosopher Oliver Wendell Holmes suggested that you cannot have truly philosophic mastery over law until you habitually consider whatever forces are there outside the law that make law what it is. And here I would add that also whatever forces or mechanisms are within the law that make it work the way it works. Muslim scholars use the term usul al-fiqh for jurisprudence. Asl literally means root, and fiqh literally means understanding. When you combine these two terms, usul al-fiqh basically means the basics or principles of jurisprudence. In technical terms, usul al-fiqh actually means the principles which help us understand substantive law, legal rules, ahkam. And ahkam relates to human actions, and they inform us what are our rights and obligations and what things are allowed and what things are not allowed. Now, HEC recommends Sir Abdul Rahim's The Principles of Muhammadan Jurisprudence as the recommended text. This book was written in 1907 and was first published in 1911. We would recommend that you also read other updated books that you can see on the screen. Another book for jurisprudence, English jurisprudence, recommended by HEC is by Sir John Salmond. This book was first published in 1902 and its 12th and last edition was published in 1962. We would recommend that after you are done with your GAT, you should read other books which may provide you updated knowledge about jurisprudence. Now, when published in 1902, Salman's book was so influential that Sir Abdur Rahim, when he was writing his book, he followed the pattern of Salman's jurisprudence. That's why you see that the structure of these two books is very similar. First part describes legal theory, history, and provides introduction to two sources. Second part discuss legal concepts such as capacity, rights, obligations, ownership, title. And the third part provide brief introduction to various areas of law. Now, it will make your preparation for exam interesting and maybe a little bit of fun if you read these two books side by side. And you would be able to appreciate the differences between English jurisprudence and Islamic jurisprudence. Now, the single most important question in jurisprudence is what is law? And the answer to this question is simple and complex at the same time. No one knows the answer to this question for sure. But it's in the process of finding answer to this question that we discover various layers of our legal system. Law is sometimes defined as commands of sovereign, sometimes it's defined as combination of primary and secondary rules, sometimes it's defined as a method of social control and governance. So while there is no accepted answer to this question, but finding an answer to this question make us appreciate that how different forces, different sectors in the society and different state institutions influence the working of our legal system, both at national and global level. Now, generally, jurisprudence could be divided into two main types. First type, that we may describe as normative jurisprudence, tell us what we should do. And sometimes it does this in the garb of telling us what actually law is. As against this, the second type, which we may call disruptive or critical jurisprudence, Try to challenge the status quo, try to change the existing structure, political governance system. And it would be very useful for you if you just keep these two types of jurisprudence in your mind. It will make your reading interesting. So when a particular scholar is suggesting a particular theory about what is law, what perspective that scholar is coming from. Is that scholar a normative jurisprudence scholar, or is that scholar a scholar who follows critical or disruptive jurisprudence? And while doing this research, I discovered one very interesting fact. So about our author, Sir Abdur Rahim. Sir Abdur Rahim was a Bengali Muslim scholar. He was a barrister, and then he was appointed a judge of Madras High Court. He then became a politician, joined Muslim League, and when Pakistan came into existence, he moved to Karachi and he passed away in Karachi in 1952. His son, Jalaluddin Abdur Rahim, was one of the main ideologues behind Pakistan People's Party. He actually played key roles in writing the manifesto of Pakistan People's Party in 1967.